These things suck. They squeak, they don't move air. And take a look. Despite having 2 whirly birds on my roof, my attic gets over 160 degrees in the summer. I think we can do better. It's time for an upgrade. So the most popular solution to this would be to install an attic exhaust fan, which runs off 120 volt. But the problem with my attic, it's really hard to get into, let alone work, and get up there and periodically inspect the fan. So I'd like to find a solution that works from the roof side only. So I found a number of options that are solar powered, and obviously these will work when the sun is shining and if it's cloudy, or if the fan fails for some reason, the hot air will just escape passively, which is we're no worse off than we were before. So, but the biggest drawback to these is the price. There's a number of options available from different manufacturers, but they're generally kind of in the $200 to $400 range. And when you break each one of them down, it's a cap, a panel, and some fans. Each of these components are pretty inexpensive, and I think this is a great opportunity for me to build my own version, saving me a good amount of money. But in the end, I think I can create something that will outperform the competition in terms of just how much air it'll actually move. So let's get to work. All right. So we're out here with the 25 watt solar panel. Check the voltage. 21.3. That's the short open circuit voltage. And the short circuit current coming out under no load. Let me see if I can get this. It's about 1. So producing about a little more than, about 21 watts right now. A little bit hazy, maybe the angle's not perfect, but let's see what happens when we hook up the fan. So this is a 3-wire fan. 2 of them are for power, 1 is for speed control. I'm not going to be using the speed control. There we go. Oh, that feels nice. Obviously, the second fan will slow the speed, but these things are rated at 3,500 RPM, 12 volts, 3/4 of an amp, comes out to about 9 watts. So this thing producing 21 volts, 1 amp, so about 20 watts. So together, this thing will be able to handle both pretty easily.
Moment of truth. Oh. Come on, second one. I want to kick on. All right, we're back here in the morning. The sun is shining and it's already spinning. The more perpendicular you turn it to the sun, the faster it turns. Obviously in the middle of the day, it's going to be at its peak RPM. When you turn it away, it's still moving, still moving. You kind of see it going. It just goes. And it's funny with these, the way this panel is set up, it's really sensitive to partial shading. Like even that kind of kills it. But luckily where it is, there's nothing to shade it up top. It's going. All right, let's get it up on the roof. Ah, yes. It works. Spinning. You. I'm coming for you. All right. So I stuck the data logger on a string tied to a screwdriver, dangling it in the hole in the attic. So I'm gonna pull this out for now and then I'll put it back after we're done. Continue logging data. I'm gonna put this out of the sun. Yeah, you just stay there. Okay. It's hot. Yoink. This thing is toast. Set it aside. Looky there. So it's pretty restricted, but we're gonna leave it as is. We might change something, cut those out or something like that. But I am going to tie the data logger and dangle it into the attic from there, and then come back later for it. I'll pull the cap off and then retrieve it. So let's get to it. You can feel it. It's going. It's blowing. All right, let's get this thing screwed on and then get close up. Definitely feel air moving out. It's quite warm already, even at 9:30 in the morning. Let's see. Now when I'm in the shadow, it turns off. There, kick back on. Yeah, she's blowing. Exhausting. Nice. All right, so it's blowing, but it doesn't really matter unless it makes a difference in the attic temperature. So in the next few days, I'm going to leave this to go through a couple of days worth of exhausting, and then we'll take a look at the data and see, did it work? Does it mean anything? Is it good for anything? All right, see you in a couple days. Yeah.
So before we look at the data, I just wanted to point out some of the specs of the fans and the solar panels that I chose for this project. And the fans themselves are operate at 3,500 RPMs. They're not intended to be quiet. They're intended to move a lot of air, and each one of these moves 157 CFM each, 12 volts, 3/4 of an amp, for a total of 9 watts each. So both combined 18 amps. The panel is rated for 25 watts, and I tested about 20. So the system should put out about, at its peak, 300 CFM is what you should expect. Now let's take a look at the other solar vent cap that I had shown in the beginning of the video, and you see they're claiming that this system will move 740 CFM with a 10 watt panel. So double, a little more than double the CFM that I'm able to get at its theoretical peak, with a panel that's less than, half the rated wattage. So
you sure about that? You sure about that?
Anyways, I just wanted to point this out because I saw some really large figures on other products out there that are available, and just worth looking a little bit closer at before you end up clicking purchase. All right, so let's take a look at data and see what I recorded. So I had the data logger in the attic for about 7 days, from the 13th until the 20th. And this red line here is when I installed the cap, the new cap replacing the old cap, 9 a.m. on the 16th. And these curves indicate the highs and the lows of the temperatures measured inside of the attic. Peaks up close or exceeding 150 degrees. And these are the ambient temperatures measured outside of the attic, just the temperature of the air of that day. And it's not like a slam dunk. This data takes a little bit of an interpretation. You can see the few days before it was approaching 150 degrees. And then the day after, 115 from 111. So significantly hotter, but the attic kind of hovered around 150. Who knows, had I installed it a day later and captured a 115 degree day with the old Whirly Bird, we would have seen, maybe it got up to like 175 degrees or something up there. But what I do notice, if you zoom in a little bit here, that you don't see over here are these little shoulders at 9 a.m. So here, when I installed the fan, it kind of changed the curve, the shape of the curve there. And then you see it again here. That's at 9 a.m., right when the sun is high enough to power the solar panel. And then on these days it was cloudy, but you start to see these little shoulder bumps. This day was a little bit warmer than this day, maybe less cloudy when the fan kicks on. I suspect that's, and you kind of don't see it over here. Maybe, you don't see it here. It's pretty straight, but definitely pronounced here. One theory could be that when the fan kicks on, it changes the trajectory of these curves. And the temperatures in the attic could be significantly lower or somewhat lower than they would be otherwise. But hard to tell exactly. So I think further data collection would be required to I would look forward at the forecast and the temperatures that were coming down, and kind of plan the data collection out so that there's a series of days that are similar in high temperature. So, if there were 114 or 115 degree days, one after another, that would be a good time to set it up, install it, no clouds, just so it can be apples to apples. So we do see, I think there is signs that it's making a difference, but my theory is that it's probably, we need something that moves a little bit more air. So perhaps in the future, an upgrade could be a bigger panel. So instead of a 25 watt panel, maybe like a 35 or 40 watt panel, something like that, and a bigger fan. And here we are finally at the cost. Let's see what it took to build this project. In total, $136.36. We spent $48 on the replacement cap. So that's the direct replacement once I took the Whirly Bird off, the thing that would fit onto the roof jack. So I didn't have to do any modification to the roofing. It just it unscrewed, went straight on. The solar panel, this
is the best deal I could find at the time. All of these prices are from mid 2023. So, depending on when you're watching this video, it might change. Each fan, or both fans together, $38.98, and then some random items for the build. So $5 for the aluminum angle stock that I found at a local metal supplier where I'm located in Phoenix, in their scrap bins. I just picked 2 that fit, worked for my project. Then these rubber glands, it was for the electrical lead that went from the solar panel in through the cap to protect the cord itself. And the whole pack was $4.50, and I only used 1 out of maybe 10 that were in there. So, but I'm counting them all. And then the random bolts and fasteners that I needed that I got from Ace Hardware, and I got each individual one. And these maybe were a little on the expensive side because I got stainless steel fasteners so that there wasn't any galvanic issues between the aluminum angles that were being bolted, so I didn't have any corrosion, and I wanted something that'll last a long time outside. So about $5 for a small handful of these fasteners. So in total, $136.36 cost to build. That includes taxes. The alternative that was sold on HomeDepot.com, which is what I based the design on, comes out to, with tax, $278.17, and we saved $141.81. And despite the results shown in the data, I think this has a lot of promise. And for this much of a savings, I say it's totally worth building yourself. Any DIYer, with a drill and some basic hand tools can do this. There's nothing excessively complicated. It only took me about 3 hours in total. And so I think this is a great project for anybody to tackle and improve the ventilation in their roof, and also improve the performance of their home. And if you enjoyed this build, please comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next Build It or Buy It.